My name's Janet Foggy, and I wanted to make a little video to talk about living well with bereavement, both from my personal experience and also from the work that I've been doing as a celebrant conducting funerals. One thing we do not choose in life is grief, and yet it is something that each of us must carry at some point and in some way. Grief can come to us in a variety of different ways, perhaps after the long illness of a loved one, every day counted, every moment precious. Perhaps completely suddenly, out of a blue sky, we can find ourselves without someone we had loved and relied upon. In whatever way grief comes to us, it then becomes part of the fabric of our lives. It's easy, I think, to underestimate the power and strength of grief when we have not experienced it recently or are not experiencing it at the moment. But fundamentally, it is one of the deepest experiences a human can have. For those of us experiencing grief, there are different things which can enable us to find that process easier and to find solace in the suffering which we feel. For many, talking to other people is a really important part of coping with grief, whether talking to those who also knew the person you lost and loved, or talking to people who did not know them and explaining to them the grief that you feel in the loss of their life. Also important to us in grief is place, whether that's a place you shared with the person you've now lost, or whether it's a place where you find solace or peace. This is the gate to my field, and I stop here to remember those I have lost and loved before I go through to do my chores. It's a simple place, a place which I pass every day, and a way for me to enable my bereavement to be part of who I am. And finally, for many of us, we find comfort in touching stones, whether that is physical stonework like this wall, a statue, an object, something we can touch and hold to find a way of expressing what we are feeling and to enable us to process those feelings day by day. Grief can be extremely overwhelming. It often comes in cycles, and so it helps to have some means of deliberate containment. Now, it doesn't always work, clearly, but sometimes it's useful to have a way to hold or contain your grief in situations where you need to get other things done, such as getting the shopping, seeing the dentist, going to the doctor. It's important to be able to choose to hold our grief to ourselves when we need to, and to be able then to touch it when we find our people, place, or touching stone that's important to us. At this time of year, we think of feast days and festivals. When we lose a loved one, we're very conscious of the absence of that person on the feasts and festivals of life. And so it's good to find a way to touch on the bereavement, to hold that feeling of loss, perhaps to talk about the things they did, the things they said, the way they were, so that we can then carry forward our own lives in the celebrations of the years to come, while knowing that that bereavement and that grief will always be with us. Because we can't avoid the sunrise, it is true that the sun will set and the sun will rise, the days will come, and as our feelings of grief and loss change, as they cycle, as they move, so too our lives change. They will never be the same. They will carry those experiences with us, but it does become a place, a new life, a new sunrise. And when that day dawns, it's a good thing and something well worth holding to.